Right.
Hi, Lydia. Thank you so much for joining this Kenyan Meet Australian page. I'm so grateful that you have come. And thank you so much for doing this. There's so many people who have questions. So today you're not here for me, you're here for the multitudes who are looking for answers. So
thank you for having me. I'm quite happy to answer questions that I can answer.
Yeah.
And I hope at the end of the day, they will be able to feel satisfied with this session.
Yay. Before I start, how is Corona taking you guys in Kenya? I hear the third wave is there.
Yes, it is, but we are just waiting to see. We keep on praying, and that's the best we can do. We are waiting. Hopefully, when I go home this evening, I'll get to know what the president said, because he was doing a speech today.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So that would be interesting to hear.
I know. Because hey, may God protect Kenya. May God protect.
Oh, yes. So, keep us in your prayers.
I will. I have a few questions that I will ask, and I'll just ask you one question at a time as we go along. So the first question people ask is, where should they begin? If you're looking to come to Australia to study, where do you start?
Normally, I would say for students who have just finished high school and parents are ready to sponsor, it would be good for them to come in and have a chat. At least we get to look at their a bit of their background even before they have their results. Like, let's say, for example, the KCSE students. Just have a chat with them, see what they're good at, in terms of grades, in terms of probably their mock results, look at what they are good in subjects, what they are weak at, and see what the student wants to study. Gone are the days where parents would say that I want my child to do nursing, I want my child to do accounting. These days, children are very strong-headed, or students are very strong-headed and know what they want. So you're able to sit with them and talk to them and decide. For students who have finished their bachelor's degree and want to do a master's, again, there are a lot of things that go into such applications in terms of consistency in their background and work experience. For example, if a student has done accounting in terms of a bachelor's degree and they want to now come and do nursing, a master's in nursing, whereas some application would be looked at like a change of career, you need to have a very good reason why you want to go into a totally different course from your bachelor's degree.
Oh.
So, yes. So we have to be realistic in terms of doing these assessments and also getting to see where the student's head is at, because when you're doing the statement of purpose, which I think you can remember you did, you need to be able to express and give your reasons for why you want to do this course, why Australia, why the particular university you've chosen. So it is a rigorous assessment, so to speak, but not to scare the students. We do help them understand that this is the path you can follow, and if you do it this way, then you're risking, unless you have a very good reason of wanting to do it that way. So yeah, if a student is looking at going, they cannot have finished KCSE 20 years ago or 10 years ago, sat at home and now want to go to Australia to study. Obviously, immigration or even the university will see, why have you sat home for 10 years in Kenya while you could have gone back to school? Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. There's never a pegged time that you can say they need to start at this time, but rest assured is immediately they finish and want to transition or go into another course, that would be the right time, as opposed to one who has been doing nothing and wants to now go to Australia.
So if for example, if you finished and maybe you wanted to come but you don't have the money or something happened, at least show that you are doing something, you are active in one way or another, maybe working or something, like something consistent with what you're thinking of doing.
Absolutely. Like, for example, for a student who's done probably a bachelor's degree, let's say in accounting, and he finished this course maybe 3 years ago, and he's been working in an accounting firm, or he's been working at a bank as an accountant, and he now wants to go and do his master's of professional accounting. That is absolutely okay, because it shows you finished your degree, got some work experience, and now want to transition into the master's degree. Yes. So that one is fine.
Then it means if someone has finished their high school and they haven't gone to uni, it would be very hard for them to apply for a visa, because
it'll be very hard for them to apply if they have stayed at home for the last 3 years without doing anything. You have to be able to justify why Australia now, where you're going to spend about 4.5 million a year in terms of tuition fees and living expenses, that is just average. While you could have done your bachelor's degree back at home, maybe for 3 years, which would cost you less than $500,000 for the whole degree, right? So if you cannot justify why you didn't do that, then there'll be those questions raised. Definitely. Apart from even immigration, even the university will want to know, okay, you're a student, they've met entry requirements to go directly into uni in Australia. Why didn't you start at home if at all the finances was an issue? Where has this money now come from that is taking you all the way to Australia? So for a student like that, who would come in after 3 years and say, look, I did my KCSE 3 years ago, I got an A-, and I want to now go to Australia, I'd say, look, 3 years ago, you've missed out on 3 years. I'd suggest you start your degree here, depending on the age, and then we can look at doing a master's application for you probably in the next 3 years.
Okay. So then, what do I have to ask? And you know how we are told you can master in anything. So that's a myth, because then if you did an accounting course in your undergrad and then you decide, okay, I want to master in IT or nursing or something totally unrelated to accounting, then you won't be considered.
Look, I'll tell you something. We've got students who have done accounting or let's say procurement, right? Procurement for their bachelor's degree, and you look at their work experience, it's nothing in procurement at all, right? Maybe this guy went to teach in a school, for example, for the last 3-4 years, and he now wants to go to Australia, maybe to do education. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, it will all depend on the reason why he wants to do education. He can say, look, I did procurement, I did not get a job in procurement, but my work experience for the last 4 years has been teaching, because maybe I had a diploma in teaching, and now I want to come to Australia to do my second degree. Then probably there has to be a reason and good explanation, and that all on a case-by-case note, and we have to see the genuinity in it all to be able to, basically it all comes down to doing an assessment and saying, this you can, this unfortunately you might not.
Advice is the best advice you can give someone is to come and see you and have a discussion first from the get-go before they start deciding, let me look into unis, let me look into this. Like they just come and have a seat first and chat and see?
For some students, they already do their research. Some of them are fortunate, like for example, you who had siblings already in Australia, so they would be able to advise, oh, Ngechi, you can do this because this is what you've done, and this and so university offers it. So some students already know which university they want to go to or which city or state in Australia they want to go to. So it's still good to come in and have a chat with us, or probably send us your CV. We look at it, have an assessment, and then we'll give you a call. Maybe book an appointment, or you can walk in for us. We don't take appointments. Feel free to walk in whenever you have the time, and we sit and have a candid discussion about it, and we take it from there. In fact, most of the students, when you speak to them sometimes on phone or you send them an email, they have so many questions and they do not want to probably bombard you with the questions. You say, come in, let us have a discussion. And 99% of the time, they are happier that they came in because the perspective is totally different.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned somewhere that it costs about 4.5 million to do this studying in Australia. And people want to understand, especially the bank statement situation and the finances and how it is calculated and that whole process. How would you advise them?
Okay, when I mentioned the 4.5, that is a rough estimate of how much it would cost for, let's say, a bachelor's degree in maybe a common degree like business.
Yeah.
Or commerce rather. So that would be the tuition fees for 1 year, living expenses for a year, and your ticket to Australia. So that 4.5 is just about where a normal student would look at doing a normal course, as opposed to a student who's looking at doing medicine, for example, which would go obviously much, much higher than that per year. So 4.5 is a rough estimate of how much or more it would end up costing a student per year to study in Australia. That is living expenses, tuition fees, and their ticket to Australia, because that is how immigration is going to assess that they meet the financial capability of studying in Australia.
Sounds so expensive. I know. I am talking from a place of I have studied, I have worked, I have done all these things, but it still feels so expensive. So then you have to provide a bank statement, which is another whole ball game. I think from what I remember, there's some people who said they could get a bank statement from someone and someone to support the application. So it wasn't just the one bank statement. So I know that I did tell people that, and guys were like, can you confirm this? Can you confirm this? So because I wasn't too sure, I wasn't 100% sure, I think that is something you tell us if it is valid or not. Like, what's the deal?
Students in most of the universities would need to see that the students meet the financial requirements. It has to come from an eligible sponsor. Eligible sponsor meaning the person who's sponsoring you first and foremost is genuine in their sponsorship to you. Secondly, this person is related to you. For example, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, a grandmother, a grandfather, an uncle or an aunt who is immediately related to you. So it has to be probably your mom's sister, or your dad's sister, or brother of, again, your mom's brother or your dad's brother. You cannot just pick a statement from anyone, a dad's friend who said he'll sponsor you. Why would he be sponsoring you, number one? How many children does he have of his own to sponsor? Does he have any children who are studying abroad? So there's a lot that goes into it, and this is one thing that most people don't understand, because probably they've got a sibling in the US and they got bank statements from a friend, or they've got a sibling in Canada who used a friend's statement. So for Australia, the ballgame is a bit different, and the assessment again is done by the university, number one, before we even reach the stage where we get a confirmation of enrollment, meaning you're paying fees. So immigration will also assess, and this is what genuine agents would tell you. They'll not tell you, yes, you can get a bank statement from ABCD, because at the end of the day, we find that students go into application processes and end up just getting the offer letter, and that's it. That's where they get stuck. So for us, when we are looking, and when I say genuine agents, I mean you need to be able to tell a student or a parent, these are the questions you should be asking. Who will be sponsoring you? What will they do? Are they aware that you're interested in going to Australia to study? You need to take it to them. You give them the information. You give them the prospectuses. You give them printouts of what the course entails in terms of financials. Maybe print out what immigration is looking at, so that when this student or when this parent goes back home, they can sit back, look at that information and see this is doable or not, rather than take them through this rigorous process and it stops at getting the offer letter and that's it.
Wow, I didn't even know the uni checks. My gosh, I didn't know that.
Oh yes, that's part of something that they call GTE, genuine temporary entrance. So that is what entails the GTE assessment. And in many a times it takes them a lot, because they have to verify, you have to show, apart from the bank statements, the person who's sponsoring you, what is their source of income? Are they taking a loan? If they are taking a loan, how are they going to repay it if they are working? If they are not working, how are they going to repay it? Probably this person has used a title deed as collateral to collect a loan. So all this evidence has to be put together to make a case and to remember, the person sitting at an office in the university doesn't know the student's background, doesn't know what kind of a family they come from. They are not having this conversation that we are having, but your documents will speak for itself. So meaning, as an agent, you have to make sure that you're writing this story on behalf of this student. You're putting in this application on behalf of the student, such that the person sitting in an international student's office assessing the GTE can connect those dots. And likewise, that is the same process that we will take the student through when doing their visa application for them.
So, because someone wanted to know if they had a loan in their bank statement, if it would deter them. So the point here is, it might not deter you, but you need to show how you're going to pay. Like, you have to show what you used or whatever.
Absolutely. I'll give you a good example. We've got some students, particularly the ones going for their postgrad, probably they've been working for the last 3-4 years. They've managed to secure a loan because they had a SACCO that they were already, contributing towards. So whereas SACCO statements are not acceptable as source of income at immigration, you can show evidence that you had this money in this account, which is 3/4 of what I need, and I am securing a loan for the other quarter. But then the question will come, Ngechi, you're going for 1 year. You're going for a 2-year master's, sorry. You have your tuition fee for the first year. What happens when Ngechi goes into second year? Remember, Ngechi is still paying the loan for the first year. So therefore, apart from Ngechi's statements, you have A, B, and C's bank statements as well. Maybe a brother or a sister or your mom or your dad. You can combine those bank statements. It doesn't necessarily need to be just one person's bank statement. So long as there's evidence of relationship of where or of the person giving you the bank statement, then that is okay. You can combine as many as 2, maximum 3. You bring me
how many
10 bank statements sitting at immigration, and I'd say, oops, she's really struggling to put these finances together. She has 10 bank statements. So therefore, you've got to be realistic in how you do it.
Okay, all right. Hey. Okay, so somebody wanted to know. And before I ask about that person, first I want to say thank you, because I can attest that you're a genuine agent. I put out a post on my Instagram, and people have already started commenting and vouching, like, for real. They're like, Lydia helped us. Lydia helped us. You're really a household name here in Australia.
Thank you.
At least here in Australia, we know you. Me, I don't know about other countries, because I don't know if you've ever had to do other countries, but I know here in Australia, you're a household name. Nobody, or I think for 3/4 of us, will come here through you. So when you say a genuine agent, I know what you're saying, because your people can testify for themselves. If I could call everyone who has come through Lydia, we would be here till tomorrow. That's how I wish we wouldn't even finish. So
thank you so much. I'm humbled. I've done it for 22 years. This is my 23rd year. And I'd probably say about 3 years ago, I say I'm a grandmother to students in Australia. And the reason I say this is because in 2018, I did a visa application for a son of a student who I had sent to Australia about 15 years ago. So when he was going to do his master's, his son was about 3 years old. So he brought his son when his son turned 18 and had just finished high school. So the son is in Australia as you see. So yeah,
look at
those are the kind of things that make me really happy. And when I see students even who went to Australia 18 years ago walk into my office with their kids, it makes you feel so proud that they are doing well. They've done big things in Australia, and you can proudly say, I was part of that. It might not be big, but it was that little tiny part that I helped play, and that makes it, for me, every day a blessing. Wake up and do the same thing again and again and again.
We are grateful. On behalf of every single person you have brought here, I will say we are very grateful, and we do not take it for granted, because you are very honest with us from the word go. There was no beating around the bush, so we had no option but to do what we needed to do to get it, to make it here. So thank you for that.
Welcome.
So somebody wanted to know if they could get a student visa if they have a family. How easy or hard is it to apply with a family?
It is all, as I said, every case is so different, depending on the kind of family, depending on the sponsorship, depending on what you have to show in terms of why do you want to come. Again, this all comes under GTE. Why do you want to bring your family? Why do you want to bring your wife, who's probably a bank manager in a big bank in Kenya, and you are going to study? You have limited working hours. Therefore, if she joins you in Australia, leaving her position here and coming to sit in Australia, because obviously there's no guarantee that this lady is going to get a job in Australia. Or if she does, it's only 20 hours a week. It might not generate enough income like she's getting here. So there's a lot of questions that go into it. And I'll give you an example. Last year, I did an application for somebody who was coming to Australia. They were on a scholarship, tuition fees and living expenses. This was a student who was coming for a PhD. And she came with her husband and 3 kids. For the children, they were actually in primary school, therefore the university was educating the children. Okay. The university that she went to was paying for the children fees. And the husband, on the other hand, is a graphic designer, so he can do it from wherever. So he got study leave from his employer. So that was a walk in the park for me, an application like that. And then we've got cases where a student and his wife have got rental income in Kenya. They've got the money, they've got the finances, they're showing they're already sponsoring themselves to Australia. They've got enough money in their bank statements. They've got property in Kenya that they're getting income from. Therefore, for them, again, that would be an easy application to do because it shows that they have assets in Kenya. They've got their own money, they're sponsoring themselves. So, whereas it might sound really, really hard, on the other hand, we say, first go, give it, test the waters. You go to Australia, start your studies, and then see, you don't want to uproot your whole family and 3 or 4 months down the line, you don't like it and you want to come back. Or it is too overwhelming to have my children here and my wife here, therefore I want to bring my children back to Kenya. So it is always an assessment that needs to be done. As a family, you need to sit together and decide why. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to all go together? Is it worth it for you to first go and us follow later? So each and every case, to be honest, Ngechi, is very different from the other. It needs to go through an assessment, and we can say that yes, you can go with your family. I'm looking at some students that are my friends on Facebook that we are still in touch with, that went to Australia 2 years ago or 1 year ago, and their family are currently in Kenya. They already have their visas, just waiting for the borders to open and come in. So it's not that you are not allowed to come with your family. You can, but there's an assessment that you have to go through and a lot of information that has to go into that application for us to be able to say, this is a case that is doable, this is a case that might not be possible.
So what I'm hearing you saying is you need to show proof that you can secure your lot, you can secure your family. If you're bringing your family, show proof that they're not going to rely on working here to make it. That's what you're saying. So
definitely.
But then if you come and test the waters and you see you can do it, how easy is it to do an application for your family to join you with time?
Again, you can so long as your family will be able to show, or you will be able to show that you have sufficient funds to sponsor your family. So meaning it doesn't necessarily have to be the student themselves. Obviously there are students in Australia not making that much in terms of finances, but if their father or their mother or the father-in-law to the person who wants to join is sponsoring and they have the funds, and the student or his family has evidence to show that they have something to come back to at home, then that's fine. The application can be assessed and it can be a successful application.
Okay, all right. Then you talked about waiting for the borders to open. What's the situation now? Can people still come and start applying for the visas, or is it best that they just sit and wait for borders to open whenever they will open? Because here in Australia, we do not have guarantees anymore.
Absolutely not. The situation here is students are still applying to universities. Application for visas are still ongoing.
Okay.
We've got, as we speak, students that are sitting and waiting. They already have their visas in hand. Yesterday, I just managed to get a visa for one of our students. So she's waiting for the borders to open. The beauty about it is she's already doing 1 or 2 units, which she did last semester, which was July. This semester, she's also doing other 2 units. So basically, life is not like, as much as you feel it's stopped, it's not. For those who are ready to start online, the provisions are there. The universities are really being very, very generous in terms of giving very good discounts in terms of tuition fees, because we had parents who are asking, why should I pay international students' fees and my son or my daughter still in Kenya? The good thing is, look, you're already saving 800,000 per year from the tuition fees, because your son or your daughter has been given a partial scholarship or financial aid. So people are, at least, as opposed to last year March, convincing a student to do classes online, it was rocket science. But right now, after they've seen that, we are getting this and we are getting that, it kind of gives them a bit of morale, and also the parents are feeling, let's take this on, So students are getting their visas, just waiting for the borders to open, and as soon as they do, they'll travel.
People are out.
You guys need to let us know when you're opening those borders.
The last conversation we had, they said June 17th. But I'm not here to say that is a guarantee, because it will be very much dependent on what happens between now and then.
Oh yes,
that
definitely.
That news they gave out was June 17th. So, and they said it is based on the vaccine rollout and how people will take it and that whole process. So, just waiting to see how things are.
Definitely.
Imagine even us guys want to come home and just visit. We are so tired of just away.
I know. I've got a list of parents who are waiting to put in their applications, like they want to come, because many of them missed out on graduation for their, children, and
I am where I think no one.
Oh yes.
I hear you. So
and there's some students that came in even last year. They're stuck here. They came in 2019 December, and they're still quite a few that came on holiday. They're still stuck here.
No. Gosh, that can be so devastating. Anyway, it will come to an end. We have to find normal, so we'll wait.
We have to be hopeful.
Yeah, but I want to ask you, so if somebody comes here with their child as a parent, and the child, obviously they have to go to school, so will their students be considered as international students? Because I think that is something people need to be aware of.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen applications for any child of school-going age, which is 5 and above, is below 16, has to show that, or the parents have to show they have about 8,000, that is standard, 8,000 Australian dollars for schooling per year.
So you can't just wake up and bring your child. You have to ask yourself.
Absolutely not. You cannot leave, because you see, the children need to go to school.
Yeah.
You cannot come with any child 17 or 16 years and below and keep them in the house. That's wrong. So any child school going age 5 and above, you have to budget for $8,000 tuition fees per year, living expenses 30% of 22,000 per child.
So even the kids, they're calculating their cost. The way they're calculating your cost of living, they're calculating the same cost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why there's a lot. You have to be really prepared mentally, financially. You cannot just up and uproot your whole family to Australia, anticipating that the 4.5 million is all that you need to show. Definitely not. For your spouse, you need to show 35% living expenses plus her travel cost or his travel cost. For children, 8,000. These are obviously high school and depending also on the university the college that they are going to or school they are going to, but the standard amount is 8,000 per year per child plus travel costs.
Ooh, okay. I feel like people will get scared of applying, but I think it's very good information because you need to know your facts.
Yeah, then that is the reality. And at least they are mentally prepared. If they know this information, then they're mentally prepared as opposed to starting the application. And as I say, to get stuck with your offer letter, not knowing what next. So what I do is different. I speak to the student, see what their intentions are. Financials, what do you have to come back to? Do you have any property? There's a lot that you need to get these students to start thinking, or these parents to start thinking, oh, I didn't think it was this. Just like you're saying, students are going to get scared, but that is the reality that's out there that many students don't know.
Even me, I am scared for I'm scared for that future, but anyway, it is okay. So I want to ask, in your opinion, how easy or hard is it to get a scholarship? Because a lot of people have asked me if they could get scholarships, and for me, I know even with scholarships, like criteria for getting a scholarship is, it's not very easy. It's not something that you just wake up and apply and you know.
Scholarships are not so easy to come by, and whereas you might sometimes go to a website and they're advertising scholarships or agents out there advertising scholarships, you need to have a sit down, you need to get the information, you need to go through and find out. Some of these are just partial scholarships. I wouldn't even call them full scholarships because they are partial, some of them. Very, very few are full scholarships, and again, those are all done on merit.
Yeah.
So it's not so easy. Looking at having done this for 22 years, 23, going 23, I can give you a handful of students that had full scholarships.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Okay. I think I have exhausted my questions. I cannot think of anything else apart from what we have already discussed. So, God help me, I hope I have not forgotten anything. Do you think I have forgotten anything?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
But again, if you have any questions or students have any questions, please feel free to share my mobile number.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. To share my email address, which you now have.
Yeah.
So, we can always have a chat. I'm on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And I'm really fast on WhatsApp and chatting and calling.
Yeah.
So please feel free to share my contacts. I have no problem. And we can help answer some of those questions. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure you've not asked all the questions.
No.
You'll have somebody asking you a different question, and you'll be like, oh, I didn't think of that. But, I'm here to help, and definitely will be as honest as I need to be. Sometimes I know it's not a very good thing because people get upset, like, she's putting me off, but that's not the thing. I'm being real, giving you that information so that you are prepared. I said mentally, financially, and there are so many options that even parents don't know that they can use in terms of financial capability. There's so many ways that they can put their finances together. And I was speaking to a parent just the other day. I gave them, this is what you can do, because he said, I've got a lot of properties, but I don't have the money sitting in the bank. And I said, you can do A, B, C, D if you're comfortable with that. And he's like, oh, I didn't think, I don't need to have money just sitting in my account. I said, absolutely not. So long as we do A, B, C, D, we should be okay. So there's a lot that goes into giving information and letting people know this is another way that you can do it.
Oh, I didn't even know.
It's all on a case-by-case note. Case-by-case note, meaning anybody who has collateral that they can use, we can let them know how to go about it, and it's for them now to act on what we have advised. But you have to be or open.
First of all, I didn't even know that myself about the property, so even me, I've been caught unaware. But I know that there are people here who are going to ask if you do help with getting other visas apart from the student visa, and I know you do help with visitors visas because my family has been a beneficiary of visitors visas, so I know that you help with that. But is there any other visa that you help with? Because I know some people want to get graduate visa, PR, and I'm like, I don't know if that is your area of expertise, so I don't know if I can tell them.
Unfortunately, PR visas, post-study, graduate visas, those we don't do. Visit visas we do, and student visas. And we are happy. I'm just doing a few visas for students who are already in Australia, and renewing to do their masters. I have two that are going into masters, but they want me to do the visas for them from here, and those applications are already in.
So people. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that part. Oh, that's good to know.
Added service.
Yeah. Well done. You keep adding them. So, but one thing. You don't just help Kenyans. Anyone from any other African country, from whichever country they're coming from, they can always come to you and you can guide them. It's not just a Kenyan situation.
At the moment, I'm doing Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and most of these students are already residents here in Kenya. So until I start putting that portfolio where I get to travel to these other countries, at the moment I'm just sticking on to those that are here. So you find students from different countries in Kenya whose parents are probably working here. Those ones we can assist.
Oh
yes.
Okay. So
looking at venturing to other countries.
Someone can come from Zambia and come to you and ask you to help them apply. It will be tricky.
At the moment, it will be tricky because, like most of the applications that I'm putting in now, particularly for universities, they want to know whether I'm recruiting from other countries. And whereas I would love to do that, it's a bit difficult because there's a lot that goes into assessing genuinity in terms of bank statements, in terms of documentation. So for now, I'll just stick to what I can
What you
verify.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you everyone for watching. As you have heard from the expert, because she is the expert. 23 years is not a joke. It's nothing some of us have done. So I'm glad that she came, and yay! Thank you so much for coming and for giving us information. Like she said, she's very happy to share her contacts, which I will put at the end of this video, as I always do with other contacts. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to her. Her details will be at the end of the video, and you can reach out and speak to her and take it from there. I have done my part. I have brought you the expert. You now do your part and reach out to the expert and see how you go from there. Thank you, Lydia, for coming. God bless you. God bless your work. Keep doing it. We are very grateful, and yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, and have a fantastic weekend. I know you can't wait to switch it off, and
I know. It's 8:30 in the evening, so time to wind down.
3:30, yeah, so I still have an hour and a half in the office.
You keep working. Let me go and come back to normal weekend mood now. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you so much. I'm humbled. I'm humbled to be here, and I really appreciate.
We are the ones who are humbled. We who are getting from you are the ones who are humbled. God bless, and see you guys on the next.
God bless you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.